So anyway, my phone kept stopping the recording automatically, being full of memory, because I forgot to delete a couple old videos. So anyway, the bonehead in the red t-shirt and black shorts in the video I just uploaded, the second video I uploaded, worked for Mikayla's husband and Virginia Piper and Safe Harbor and Community Health Centers of Burlington and corrupt police officers and agents like the corrupt domestic violence advocate McAfee. I think her name's Mary McAfee at Burlington Police Department, and some corrupt social workers that for some reason the police officers answer to, which makes no sense. It's some woke version of trying to look like they're respecting human rights or civil rights, or it's ridiculous. Incarcerating people costs the taxpayers up to 75 grand a year. Well, steering the patients to Howard Center or drug rehabs or wherever, they can profit way more than that. See, it's not profitable for the police, as profitable for the police to incarcerate them, even if the police unions own stock in the private prisons, because there's no guarantee they're going to a private prison, and only, that it's going to be a limited profit. Whereas with steering them towards Howard Center and the drug rehabs that are forcing the patients to either take methadone or buprenorphine, which is absolutely astronomically expensive narcotics, high-powered narcotics, like hospital-grade comatose narcotics, is much, much more profitable. They can make 75 grand a month. Hell, and if they're keeping them in the ICU, they can make 75 grand a day off the unbundling and upcoding kickbacks frauds. So, anyway, my point was that guy that was on the video was one of these idiotic PIs that are turned out by either Dr. Lincoln, a guy named Paul, who I have on audio bragging about how he used to be a cop and he's best friends with the cop. He's recruiting, and what they're doing is they're recruiting cronies and patients. A lot of the people that work for Virginia Piper are just, at Homeland Security, are just her friends. Some of them are veterans. One was an EMT. The EMT, Susan Boyce, was a wealthy white EMT who was so high on methadone and Xanax, well, she was nodding off most of the time. So the bogus criminal allegations against me came long before I ever got to Vermont. But the fact of the matter is, what I was trying to explain is, in an ongoing criminal enterprise, even though Safe Harbor is directly involved in killing 3 people, having their patients kill 3 people, and Al Hennessy having him kill people, and then paid somebody to kill him, his girlfriend apparently. Just because McDonald's staff or upper management or the franchisee or corporate wasn't actually there and played a direct role in it, in a criminal enterprise, everybody's guilty of all the crimes everybody does. Because those people, and Mikayla Raines was killed to protect the ongoing criminal enterprise. When I finally die from the cancer, everybody who is deemed by the surveillance, and everybody's phones are under surveillance, everybody's emails, their homes, their cars, and if you think you can go hide somewhere and have a private conversation, no, you can't. because they have high-powered microphones. They've had high-powered microphones for decades that can pick up every word you say. And cameras, yeah, there's no such thing as privacy in this day and age. And it also isn't just the racketeering and the murders here. Because this ongoing criminal enterprise that's tied to BlackRock, and remember, McDonald's is a global monopoly. And that was allowed because I believe Bill Clinton, who's tied to Epstein, worked out these deals. I think it's called NAFTA. I could be wrong about that. But anyway, he's the one that made sure all these American corporations are global. In fact, I love to watch The Voice Ukraine. 8 years ago, every single blind audition you watch on their YouTube channel, the artists who are getting up to do the blind audition have to grab a pack of Orbit gum, a chocolate, and sit and either eat something from McDonald's or drink something from a McDonald's cup. Now, there's also a war in Ukraine, war crimes. That war in Ukraine, Zelensky was put there. He's a cokehead who was put there to help the United States try to get a monopoly on their precious resources. And it's tied to the Catholic Church and Israel. So now you're looking at treason. That's capital punishment. Will you be convicted of that? I don't know. I'm just giving an example of what the franchise and its CEO, vice president, maybe some regional managers, if you guys get any kind of decent bonuses. For example, when I worked at Taco Bell back in 1991, my general manager made $32,000 just in bonuses. That was just her end of the year Christmas bonus based on profits, most of which came from 59 and 69-cent tacos and soft tacos. Is this McDonald's doing that? I don't know. I had Nick tell me, no, we don't get that. I don't know that Nick was telling me the truth. He sure did a lot, what looks like a lot of pandering. Are you aware of this? I don't know. Is somebody, is the owner, is the franchisee having Lucia try to interrogate me about my internet activity and how I'm doing the surveys that you and the other, I don't know what his title is. He's wearing a blue shirt. I'm guessing he's another regional manager. The gay guy that he was joking, and you weren't around. Ashley would know who he was. He was the one that said if he was straight, he'd be in love with Anne Hathaway, I think. Has the earring. He was the one that you two were together when you told me to do the surveys to get free food every day. I asked Nick, what is the limit on how many of the promo survey codes I could use for any menu item and any, I don't know whether there's so many a limit a day, a week, a month. He goes, oh, the website will lock you out after this or that or the other. And I'm like, well, that was the first clue that McDonald's corporate is paying Epstein's partners in crime at Palantir and Oracle and Israel's Pegasus. Palantir's owned by Peter Thiel. The CEO was just recently going viral for his very high, looking like a crazy meth head, bragging about committing murder. And Oracle, I believe, is Sam Altman. I could be wrong about that. Pegasus is Israel, Mossad. That means McDonald's corporate is paying them to violate what is supposed to be a anonymous survey. So I don't have to use my devices, especially since I'm a sworn and immunized investigator for a private attorney, actually several private attorneys, one of which is under criminal investigation by the others because they're all AA members that he threatened as a cop because he was Orlando PD's biased crimes advisor, domestic violence prosecutor in the state of Florida, and a former DOJ investigator. Cops don't get to go into AA drunk and high, and then when they start abusing other AA members, like myself, granted I wasn't even an alcoholic, I just went to AA because his father's fraudulent hospital was gaslighting me. Instead of telling me I had cancer, they said I was constantly in the ER seeking drugs, and I knew that wasn't true because every time they gave me antibiotics I felt better. My uterine cancer was causing infections, painful abscesses, and sepsis, and the antibiotics made it better. So, no. But I went to AA anyway because I didn't know what else to do. I didn't understand that at the time. So I met him in there, and he wasn't in there to help me. He was in there to take my case and handle it. Funnel me into some bogus civil agreement and non-disclosure agreement, but when he originally started the case, he let me know all the criminal crap that went down. And eventually, one of the child traffickers that we were investigating murdered one of the kids for whom his name was Matthew A. Nessel. You can Google that. Matthew A. Nessel murdered by Scott Rosier Mason. Chad was half asleep and he didn't realize what he was saying, and he basically said that his former state prosecutors, had committed felony murder when they targeted me instead of the Masons and Richard Beasley and got that kid killed. They're Brady violations. He said I was erased as an unpaid agent of the executive branch and thus immune from prosecution, meaning they couldn't come after me for telling the truth, especially a truth I'm mandated to tell when it comes to child abuse, which is another thing. They know what they're doing is criminal, illegal surveillance and basically stalking and harassment and murder. That's why they're the lawyer for the state of Vermont. And I don't know if SBPD was involved in this with economic services or child services, but they lied about the circumstances that sent me to SBPD in the first place when somebody stole my identity and forged my signature on an online application on which they committed perjury. So when they're lying and saying I just arbitrarily went in there and falsely accused Marcus at Safe Harbor of it, and my recording shows something completely different, and the recording from economic services says something completely different, that means they know what they're doing is wrong. That's called mens rea and consciousness of guilt. Now, I don't want Mikayla to end up like Amanda Ungaro. I don't want any of your immigrant employees to end up like Amanda Ungaro. I do know that the franchisee in Peoria, Arizona was hiring illegal immigrants and then not even paying them. I think at the time the minimum wage in Arizona was $7.50 an hour. It wasn't even $8 an hour. So he probably had immigrants there working for $2 an hour, probably probably under the table. I really don't know how they get away with that. I know that one of them, one of the managers was an immigrant, and who gave me a ride home one night, he said that the franchise owner co-signed his home loan. So who knows what that bastard was up to, besides threatening me because he got charged by the EEOC, for whom DHS is helping not only DHS federal investigator Virginia G. Piper, but Virginia's also an EEOC investigator. She's an oligarch. She can get herself a job anywhere she wants to. Barry Goldwater's daughter. So a lot of these, he was the guy on the video in the red and black t-shirt, he's just one of their idiotic PIs that have been threatening me and stalking me and trying to abduct me, trying to get me into their vehicle right here on McDonald's property, which guess what that means? That means that McDonald's franchise, this McDonald's franchise, and McDonald's corporate could sue Virginia G. Piper, Homeland Security, Border Patrol, Paul Dragon, Safe Harbor. See, it could sue all these people for committing criminal acts on McDonald's property and dragging them into what is going to be a nightmare PR situation once the Vermont and New York investigators decide to go public with my case.